And then the second one, we have the intervention from the stockholders, right? The intervention. So normally the stockholders can decide what type of financial manager they will hire, all right? And then for the third one, normally, let's say the owner of the company or the stockholders, they can just trade to take over the position of the financial manager if they do something wrong, okay? And for example, if the CEO or the chief financial officer is corrupting, they take the money for their own personal needs. Of course, the owner or maybe the other people on the higher level, they can just easily threat, I will take over this company if you do the same thing, if you keep repeating the same bad activity. Or the worst thing is just by threatening the firing up of the employees. So if you still do the bad stuff, if you still use the money of the company for your own needs, and then I will fire you. So that's it. All right. Okay. So what are the determinant factors of stock price? First one, the cash flow, right? The cash flow. The second one, the timing of the cash flow. And the last one is the risk. So we will discuss more about this when we already arrive in the capital market chapter. Normally what we mean by arus kas here is basically the dividend. Dividend is the return when an investor buy the stock from the company, right? That is what we call as the arus kas here, right? And then the profitability of the company in generating income every month, every year is also affecting the stock price. If the company always showing us positive performance every year, let's say the profit is always positive, of course, the stockholder will be happy because the company can earn more money than spending money. So that is the basic condition. When you have more money coming than money going, and then you have the profit situation, all right? Okay. So we will also talk about the risk later in different sections. Okay, this one. So what are the factors that might affect the stock price? So we have the external barrier, we have the policy decision that is managed by the management. We also have the activity of the economics and the ability of the company in paying tax. And then finally, we arrive in the condition of the stock, the company stock. All right, first one, the external barrier. So we have what we call the constitution. Yes, undang-undang, the antitrust constitution. I guess you already know about undang-undang omni law, right? So undang-undang omni law is one type, is one example of the antitrust constitution. All right. In some part, it can help the investors or the company, but in different parts, it can be a problem actually for different people. So for example, the law says that it will be easier for investor to open up their business in Indonesia by paying low salary, low wage. But on the other hand, the people who are working for the company, they have less income, right? Of course, they cannot afford to pay for sembako, paying for their debts, and then giving the money for their children and the family. It's very hard. For one side, it is good for the investor, but bad for the employer, right? For the employees. Okay, so you know, right? The differences, right? So that is the external barriers. And then we also have the environmental regulation. So it is really related to the corporate social responsibility. How good you deal with your waste management. Let's say the mining company, the pharmaceutical company, the chemical company, they are always damaging the environment because they cannot manage their waste. So that is the problem. So the government is finally giving the new regulation for the company who are working in the very sensitive environmentally industry. They must give more corporate social responsibility budget, let's say. Okay, so there is only one example. And then the other barrier is about the safety of the product and the safety of the workers. So when you are working in a factory, for example, you must be very safe, otherwise you will lose your life. So that is the risk that you might face. Okay. Also for the product, if you are selling food, then you must be very sure that your product is not contaminated by toxic or poison. So that is important to understand. Okay, there is also the, how to say this one, the labor practice related law, and then the policy of central bank, also the international regulation, and many more, actually many more. So there are a lot of external barrier outside the company. All right, so while the decision regarding the strategic policy that can be managed by or can be controlled by the company is really related to the type of the product, right? The services that you are producing, the method of your production, and then the research and development the product you try to do every year, and then the financing of your capital structure, whether you are using more composition of debts or your own capital. And then you also have the dividend policy here, whether you pay the dividend regularly almost every month or not, and then many more. Okay, and then finally, the external barrier and the strategic policy related activity that can be controlled by the company will affect the expected cash flow here, and also the timing for the cash flow, and then the risk that you might get in the future about your cash flow. And then that will positively or will negatively affect your stock price. Okay, I guess this one is clear. Do you have any questions so far? No? Okay, if you don't have any question, this will be the final, the ultimate slide. So what are the determining factors of the cash flow? The level of cash flow and the risk of cash flow. Okay, the first one is the environment of the economic or the finance environment, right? Whether you are accessing most of your capital from the bank, from the money market, or from the investor or from the capital market. All right, and then it is also related to how your investment, right? How can you fund your investment activity? For example, if you are planning to build a new factory, and then how can you construct your factory, your new factory? Will you access the money from the bank to make the new factory, or will you access it from the capital market by releasing the stock or the bond, right? And then the level of the cash flow and its risk also related to the dividend policy, because normally when you already have investor investing their money into your company, you cannot just use their money, but you should also give their money back in the form of a return. And then if you are selling the stock, you should give the dividend in return to your investors. So this one should be considered very carefully, because investors normally like the company that can give the dividend in regular time. All right, if you can only give the dividend today but not the year after or the next year, and then that will be a problem. Investor really likes company that can pay the dividend regularly. This year, next year, the third year, fourth year, until the end of the day, they hold the stock. So can you get that point? So what do you think about the second week? So is it easier for you to follow the course, or it is difficult? Because more or less next week we will arrive in the financial report. So we will study a little bit detail about how to read the balance sheet, how to read the cash flow, how to read the profit and loss report, right? So there are a lot of accounting information components that we will study together next week. So what I am expecting from you, you might probably read the book first before attending the class, and then when you follow the class, that will be easier for you to catch up with the material of the course. Okay. Okay, any questions so far?
I just want to ask about this one, sir. So you said that the stockholder really like the company who paid the dividend regularly. So my question is, if there is any stockholder who, there is a difference between the trader and the investor, right? So if there is this trader who just buy your stock only near the dividend payment, is it affecting our financial management or not? As a financial.
Okay, Carol, this one is good question. What we mean by investor and trader, they are different, but they are actually the same type of market participants. Right? Investors will put their money on an investment asset for long term, right? While trader, on the other hand, they invest their money, but for only a very short time. So let's say if I buy a stock today and I keep the stock for 10 years, people will call me investor, not traders, because I expect the dividend, right, in return until the 10 year. But if I buy the stock this morning and I sell the stock in the afternoon when the market is going to close, so people will call me trader because I just try to get the profit from the differences of stock price when I buy the price, or I buy the stock in the morning and then I sell it in the afternoon. If in the morning I buy it for 1,000 per stock, and in the afternoon the price goes up 25%, and then I decided to sell the stock that I bought in the morning for 1,000, and then I sell it for 1,250 rupiah, and then I get 25% profit from there. And we don't call it dividend, it's different. We call it just profit, right? It's just profit, or normally we call it as the capital gain. So the capital gain is the difference between the price of the stock when you buy it and then when you sell it. If it is positive, and then you get the gain, and if you get the negative sign, and then you get the loss. So there is capital gain and capital loss, right? What happened if I bought the stock 1,000 in the morning and in the afternoon I sell it for 250? So I get the capital loss because I lost 25% of the value of my money. Right? I have 20% less than the money I have in the morning. So that's clear. So if I buy the stock 1,000 in the morning and then I sell it in the afternoon for 1,250, I get 250 more money than the one that I had in the morning, right? So that we call it as the gain. The gain could be positive, that we say as the capital gain, but it could be also negative, that we say as capital loss. Okay, so the time differences, the time horizon is pretty clear. The investor will invest their money for long term. while the trader will put their money in a very short time. 1 day could be, 1 week could be, or 1 month could be, but not more than 1 year. Okay. Okay.
So what if this stockholder do it purposely only to get the dividend? Like they just keep it for a few months until then come. After that, after they got the dividend, they just sell their stock. Is this kind of behavior affecting us, the financial manager, or is it affecting our company or not? If they
Yeah,
just only for the
actually, yes, it is affecting the company, especially if the amount of money that they put to the company is very high. For example, the stockholders just put their money into the capital market into a particular company for a few months, just to get the dividend in return, right? So after 6 months, they will get dividend, and then after that, they sell the stock. It will affect negatively actually, because in one signal, if the company pay the dividend, it is a good signal, right? Because they think about the stockholders, they care about the stockholders by giving the dividend. But why after getting the dividend and finally the stockholders sell the stock? So there must be something wrong. Or what we can say here, the stockholder is very opportunistic. It's very opportunistic, but the level of opportunistic behavior that the investor play or the stockholder play is even bigger than the trader. Normally, trader only put money than the investor. So an investor or the stockholder is normally is in different class. They are on different level, right? In terms of the amount of money they invest. Okay, it's normal actually, doable. Nobody will sue you to the jail or sue you to no, nobody will sue you. Don't worry about that. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good question. Others. Okay then, if you don't have any more question, I will take the attendance, and I would like you to open up your camera for a while, and then I'll see. So let me stop here, and then I will show you my attendance list. Oh, I run out of battery. Okay, I don't know what is going on, but in my attendance system, it seems that there are quite few students stay in the class. I don't know what's wrong here. Like for example, here, Pedro Zuriatan. I don't know why your name here is no longer on the list. And then I can do nothing with your status. I don't know. Do you have any idea what's wrong with your name, Pedro Zuriatan? Who else? Ahmad, Anissa, Rosa, Nicholas, Muhammad. Are you guys escaping from my class?
No, sir.
Saya
Uh,
tadi
maybe
ini
because
belum.
I'm still in KPRS, sir.
Still in
My
KPRS.
Yes. My KPRS it doesn't accept my dosen PA.
All right. So that is the problem now. Okay, I understand.
Yes,
Last week it was clear. Last week it was pretty, right? It was beautiful. But now I've seen a lot of name removed from my list. But it's okay then. So at least you are escaping my class. You're probably gonna stay in the class till the end, right? Okay. All right then. I'm calling you one by one. So Revanza.
Present, sir.
Okay. Ipen Sartika.
Present, sir.
Okay. Resmi Yunisa.
Present, sir.
Okay. Muhammad Afif.
Present,